Alright, I think we are live. Let me just check some settings real quick here. Give me 1 second, everyone. Of course, YouTube's not loading for me right now. There we go. I'm just going to view the stream real quick and make sure that it looks like it's supposed to. Actually, I should do that on my phone so that I'm not having like picture in picture. It'll go on for infinity then. Alright, looks good. Let me make sure I can hear myself. Testing. Alright, looks good. Alright. Alright, so welcome everyone to our November 2023 update on Cleveland, Ohio. As you can see from the 3 pictures that I chose this month, some of the main topics that we're going to be trying to talk about are the Superior Midway project, and then sprinkling in kind of some of the Christmas decorations that are in Cleveland. Before I get started, I kind of thought it was funny. Google Photos, I use Google Photos all the time, so they often will tell me like, oh, 2 years ago on this date this happened. So when I saw this picture, even though this is 2 years ago in one day, because it's November 29th, 2021, I always thought this was like probably a once in a lifetime opportunity of a picture. This was me returning from a connecting flight in Denver on Frontier Airlines going back to Cleveland, Ohio. And this was still like a little bit during COVID times, but people were starting to fly again. But the reason I took this picture and gave the thumbs up is because look at that. When are you ever going to be on a plane again when it's like so empty? Now, I wasn't completely alone on the plane. If I would have panned like the other direction looking in front of me, there would have probably been like 10 total people on the plane, but still, I mean, that was a pretty unique time. I don't think I'll ever experience that on a flight again. Welcome Neutron9, they say hitting the like button. Thanks for tuning in. So right out of the gate, the main construction project I want to talk about this month is the Superior Midway Bicycle Project. And let's start by looking at this Cleveland.com article. It was published in mid-November, and it's talking about the long-awaited Midway Bikeway on Superior Avenue. So let's go to Google Maps. I've done some videos before on a lot of videos in downtown Cleveland, but I've done a few that have gone briefly down Superior Avenue. So let's look at Google Maps. But the thing that always drives a lot of people nuts about Superior is right after Public Square, you've got this huge, and this doesn't do it justice because this doesn't make it look super wide, but trust me, it is a really wide street. And most of the time, unless there's like some big sporting event going on, this is what you're going to see. A huge wide street with almost no traffic on it. So it seems like a waste. Like, why are there this many lanes going on? And then at around East, once you get between East 6th and East 9th, you've kind of got this random median in the middle. And then if you keep on going past East 9th Street, it just becomes this really wide street once again. Now they do have certain things, like over here it says only the buses should be in this part and cars in this spot, but overall people felt that it's really not utilized too well. So people who are proponents of bike lanes and making something unique out of it have proposed over the years, why don't we build some type of unique bike infrastructure on this street? One other quick note, probably the most used that this street ever is utilized is during the St. Patrick's Day Parade, because the St. Patrick's Day Parade does go down here. So that's when you're going to see it very used, but the rest of the year, not so much. So if we go back to that Cleveland.com article, you can see that we're getting close to the long-awaited $24.5 million Midway Bikeway on Superior Avenue, starting construction. Now the construction, you can see down here, it says is scheduled for a 2025 start. And the proposal is going to have it, I'm not sure if this article mentions, yeah, I think it's right here. The project will extend and create a 2.5 mile bikeway separated from traffic from Public Square all the way to East 55th Street. And I guess that's center lane, and the reason why Superior used to be so wide is because that used to be like where streetcars were. So this proposal will have this bike lane in the middle, has been going on since, I think, yeah, a decade ago. It says the plan was like embraced in 2016, but you can see how long it takes for these things to actually develop. Now these are some of the recent little mock-ups that were done on how they would change the lane. So this is how it is presently. You've got the sidewalks on both sides, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lanes, 2 for traffic, and each, depending on where you are on Superior, it's either a bus lane, a parking lane, or a turn lane. So that's how it is presently, meaning what you're seeing here, this is like 6 lanes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The big change would look something like this. So you would still probably, in certain spots, have bus lanes on both ends, and then you would kind of have 1 lane of traffic. So that's similar to how Euclid Avenue is, where there's like 1 lane for vehicles and buses, although it's flipped on Euclid. Euclid, you have like the buses usually going in the, at least in the downtown portion, they're in the middle. But the unique part of the Superior one would be having this 2.5 mile dedicated bike lane in the center, and then on both sides of the bike lane, or both sides of traffic, you would have a more, they say plantings here, I forget the term to use it, but you know, good curb appeal, good medians. And this reminds me a lot of when I was in New York City, Brooklyn, trying to go over the Brooklyn Bridge back in 2019 with my brother. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Hopefully memory's serving me correctly. If it's not the Brooklyn Bridge area, then it might be somewhere in Manhattan. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I didn't want to go under a bridge. I gotta zoom in a little bit more here. Let's try right here. That's still under the bridge. Sometimes Google Maps is particular about where you're at. Do I need to start further back? Let me try starting right here. There you go, that's the shot. So this is in Brooklyn, New York. How you've got the traffic on both sides, but then in the middle here you've got this bike lane. Now this is an even wider bike lane, so it's the Superior one I don't think would be quite this wide. But when my brother and I did this, I always thought this was really cool, having this in the middle, and that would take you to the Brooklyn Bridge. Now that's how the Brooklyn to New York one looks, but you know, based on the mock-up, you've got a pretty similar one going from potentially East 55th Street all the way to Public Square. And then if it may not look like it, but I just changed slides right here. I think this one's trying to show that in certain spots you wouldn't have a dedicated bike lane. It would kind of shift to 2 driving lanes. And then this would also be like a shared bus lane and parking lane. Like here, you have parking on this side of the street, but 2-way traffic on this particular side. You would still have the sidewalks. I'm not sure if they would change the width of the sidewalks at all, because the sidewalks are also very wide on both sides of the street, so I don't know if they would narrow that at all or just preserve how it currently is. And in this one, I think this is how it would look if you're going near an intersection. Unless these are just alternative mock-ups. Either way, these are what were presented in the slide. I just assumed that once you reach an intersection, and I think the reason it's like this is because you would narrow the bike lane a little bit in order to create that extra little turn lane. And then this, believe it or not, I've been seeing this mock-up right here, this picture, for many years, and I thought it was a current mock-up, but I think this was a rendering from back in like 2014. So that goes to show you, this is like a decade-long project. So who knows how close to reality would look to this, but this kind of gives you an idea of what the city of Cleveland would be going for with this project. And then we have, let me go back up for a second. If we go to clevelandmidway.com, they also have a survey there that you can take and try to give input on it. The latest information that I showed you, like with these mock-ups here, are on there. They also have more blueprints, a little bit of a PDF file about how the intersections would work, because that was one of the concerns about this, would be how safe would it be for bikers to cross a major intersection when traffic's trying to turn left and right. And there's also the timeline, like how did the Cleveland Midway get here from 2013 to 2023. And let me try to do one more search. I thought I read something earlier on this site, Bike Cleveland. Yeah, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think this green area would be kind of part of, let's see here, no, that's the St. Clair one, it's the blue one. Yeah, the blue one would be the Superior Midway, what they're trying to work on, but ideally bike enthusiasts would want to have midways go all over the place, like one down St. Clair, one, I know for a while there's been a Lorraine Avenue Midway that has been proposed and hopefully close to happening, but the reason we're talking mainly about the Superior Midway is that's the one where it's like going to happen. It's reached the stage where we're not going to, delay any further. And you even see the quote here from a city engineer where they say, quote, "It's going to happen. 2025 for the construction start." I'm not sure when the construction finish date is supposed to be. I'm sure if I dug further, there would be more information on when that possibly could be. But for now, it's just nice to know that's one of the projects that are in the works in downtown Cleveland, or extending from downtown Cleveland further on into the city. Alright, let me try to catch up on some of the comments here. Where Snowbands Persist says, "When do you plan on returning to Cleveland?" Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm hoping to still get there before Christmas and do some Christmas videos, but like I said, I'm hoping. We'll see. I'll try to keep you guys updated on that. Where Snowbands Persist also said, "Cleveland has a ton of roads leading to downtown anyway." Yeah, that's true. There's definitely a lot of ways to get there. And because Superior, like I said, even when I'm there in late in the day, waiting for because that's the main street I would wait for my buses on, it was never really heavily trafficked, with tons and tons of cars. There's some exceptions for major events, but it can definitely function with only the one lane going for it, and then there's all those alternative roads that people can take. Yeah, as you point out, you have the Chester Freeway, Carnegie, Euclid, Superior, St. Clair, and Payne. And then you also added that you wish it would extend further to like East 105th or something. Yeah, I know. Granted, I definitely love hearing about the project, but when I first heard like Public Square to East 55th, that's still nice, but in my mind I'm thinking like, like it would have been nice to have it, because in my mind I'm a West Sider, so my whole life I was growing up from like West 100th to downtown, so I would always think of like, 100 streets is like a good length for something, or an ideal length for something. So when I heard like to 55th, I was like, why couldn't they make it like a little bit, keep on going further out? But I'm sure funding and all that jazz, so we'll take what we can get, I guess, for now. And also welcome Paula Baylor. Thanks for joining the live stream. So if we continue on here, I have a few little headlines. I saw that there was a significant snowfall, not like super huge, not like crazy with a bunch of feet of snow, but the first significant snowfall of the season was in Cleveland this past weekend. You can see this reporter, Jessica Dill, taking a shot outside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that was pretty cool when I saw it, because you see like the entire pyramid is completely engulfed in the snow. And you can see, the reason I like this picture too is it kind of gives you an idea of how the depth was. When I look at the weather forecast right now though, it's 51 degrees in Cleveland, so I'm sure all that snow has melted already. Nice that they got the little warm up. And this was also a short video that someone had shot showing the snowfall. That's kind of around the public square area. So again, that was this past weekend. And then if we go back here, my mom actually sent me a message and pointed this out, because we always travel between, to go from Cleveland to Lakewood, we go down West 117th to Madison, but there was a major, I think, water main break, and on top of it, with like the ice that was happening over this weekend, it got even worse. Yeah, so you can just see the amount of water that was gushing. And she had been telling me there's already been construction projects that they've been working on near this intersection. So between the water main break and the existing construction and how hectic it's already been going back and forth, who knows how long it'll take them to completely fix that area. Probably not as long as it was like in downtown Cleveland when they had that major water main break. That was like a month and a half and 2 months. Oh, look at the comments here. Someone put, did Holly Strano run into a hydrant there? Yeah, that was another story you hate to see. For those not familiar, I believe Holly Strano's a Channel 3 weather forecaster. I think I have the title right on that. But she had like a DUI over the weekend, so the WKYC pulled her off the air, and there was a video on one of the websites showing like how she was going like 70 miles per hour and crashed into a pole. Okay, next up we have some of the Christmas decorations that are in downtown Cleveland. For the most part, these are going to be, the same things you see every year. This one was from Winterland, or Winterfest, that they had this past Saturday in downtown Cleveland, where they do the annual tree lighting. Last year I think it was the longest live stream I ever done. I'm not sure if it was 3.5 or 4 hours, but yeah, that was quite a live stream. And last year the thing I hated was I did the whole thing, and then all of a sudden, like, I thought I was still live last year because my app showed that I was live, but I guess like the last 20 minutes, particularly when the tree was actually going to be lit, my connection must have died, and I didn't know it. But fortunately I was filming with 2 cameras, so I did upload like a separate video last year of the official tree lighting. And that was the first time I had ever been to the tree lighting last year in 2022. So it was very heavily attended this year based on the reports I read online. Now if we go to, I think it's this picture I wanted to show next. One of the new additions inside of Tower City this year, as far as decorations go, is this little thing. Now this is where, you guys remember they took away the fountain that everyone loved and adored, and they replaced it with that Skylight Park. So this is not that fountain. This is the fountain on the other side of Tower City, and it's actually the fountain that they restored. It doesn't like shoot up, at least I don't think it shoots up. It's more of water that drips down this hill. But they did restore that earlier this year, but they turned off the fountain for the winter time, and they added this cute little thing. So if I'm able to get to Cleveland, that's one of the things that's on my mind. I'm making a bunch of mental notes on what to cover as far as Christmas material goes, but you can see they've got like little reindeer, little Christmas tree, so it's a nice little extra picture opportunity. I believe I saw that they also returned those window displays in Tower City this year, and also some of the older decorations from the past year or two. Trying to catch up on the comments here. Allocated Brain is here. Welcome, Allocated Brain. They say that there is a superior Midway project that is going forward, and the passage of issue 2, we are basically Amsterdam circa 1980. Oh, and you also mentioned how there was a shooting with live gunfire. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So the bad thing with this year's Winterland or Winterfest is I think like an hour or an hour and a half after the tree lighting, there was shooting down there. I saw the headlines, but I didn't have a chance to read the details, so I'm not sure if it was fatalities or if it was let's try to Google it real quick. Cleveland shooting downtown Christmas. We'll just say that. That should probably give us 2 teens shot, suspect arrested. Let's go to the Channel 5 one. Yeah, 15-year-old and 13-year-old boy were shot about an hour after the tree lighting. In critical condition. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any update on their condition. Oh, it says there's actually video surveillance from Old Stone Church. That's that YouTube live stream, and it says it captured the moment the shooting happened. I don't want to watch it right now. I think we get the gist of it based on the headline. But yeah, it's always tragic because you think you put yourself, or I put myself in those shoes too. Imagine all those people down there. You're just trying to enjoy a good time. You don't want to be worrying about that. Or what if I was still live streaming after the thing? I could have been in the area, and you never know who's going to get hit with crossfire. So yeah, it's definitely sad to read that type of stuff or hear about it. So this is one of the new additions to Tower City for Christmas this year. But I saw these pictures on Instagram and Twitter. And this is, I guess, an old style picture of, it says Tower City, Cleveland, throwback into the 90s. Let's see here. I thought maybe I can make this bigger. Maybe I'll just zoom in like this. Yeah, so I trying to remember. I don't think I got to experience it. I mean, maybe my parents took me here and I just am not remembering it, but this is, I guess, how it used to look in Tower City. This would be where the fountain was. So now Skylight Park is here, and they do still put up Christmas decorations, but it's not as extravagant as this. Like this is all the little balloon-like things, or I guess they're more so ornaments. To me, they almost look like those hot air balloons, but I think they're giant ornaments. And just look at the amount of people in there. Now, granted, on the day of Winterland, or back then Winterfest, Tower City, that's its biggest crowd of the year pretty much. So it does get good crowds on that day, but you wish it would be more regularly like that size. And then the other pictures, these ones I should be able to blow up a little bit more. Christmas decorations, some user posted it on Twitter, in the main atrium, Tower City Center in the 90s to the year 2000s. So just another shot of the ornaments hanging from the ceiling. Yeah, and then another angle of that. And this looks like even almost like a big airplane thing. I can't quite tell what's driving it based on the picture. But yeah, they look like some nostalgic decorations, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with it or remember it. So let's go back here. I think I have, trying to remember what I clicked on and didn't click on. I don't think I clicked on this one yet. Yes, so Pete Merrick, one of the downtown Cleveland residents, posted this. A second Christmas tree is now in downtown Cleveland this year at US Bank Plaza, which is near or at Playhouse Square. So I don't know if they, usually in the past where this tree is standing, they would have that big ornament where people use for photo opportunities, but it looks like the Christmas tree is there right now. So I don't know if the ornament is still there or if they relocated it, but if you're looking for a second big Christmas tree, you can go to Playhouse Square and check that out. And then what was this picture? These are all my notes. Oh, so this is this person right here is Coco's Chalky Powder. They have a store inside of the 5th Street Arcade, but they did a little video showing how inside the Cleveland Public Library they have 2 little photo opportunities for the holiday season that they put in the library. And also, if you go to the 5th Street Arcades year round, they have like these awesome photo opportunities. But that's what it looks like the Cleveland Public Library is doing for Christmas this year. Last year they did a little, I don't think, yeah, it wasn't Coco that did it, but inside the other building of the main library they did a little Christmas setup where you could do a photo in there. I don't think they're doing that this year because I'm pretty sure that big flower display is still hanging from the ceiling at the Cleveland Public Library. I think that's supposed to go through the springtime. And then the last thing that I had in my notes, let me see here. One second. Yeah, a Sherwin-Williams second building. And actually, let me go to this slide here. So recently there was, I'm not sure, I think Neotrans may have broke the news that even though the first building for Sherwin-Williams is still being worked on and close to topping out, or maybe, I think it's already topped out, but they're just finishing like the construction at the very top of the building, there's already questions on, is there going to be a second headquarters building built like right next to it? It wouldn't be as tall, but you can see based on this little thing here, the main headquarters building, which we've been showing the progress of all year, is supposed to be about 616 feet tall. And again, this is a very loose rendering. Don't take this like, oh, it's definitely going to happen or be like this, but a potential second headquarters could go literally right next to it, and based on this, it makes it sound like it could top out at like 490 feet tall, with a lobby being like 30 feet, and then this would be a parking structure. I'm not sure if it's an additional parking structure or the one that is currently being built near the building. And then all the office space, and then top floors would be like the mechanical stuff. But yeah, this article on Neotrans is talking about that Sherwin-Williams in 2024 is going to advance planning for the second phase of its headquarters via a source. And it's talking about other things like what type of areas that they would move in there. And I think this is a fairly recent picture, probably from November, of the headquarters number 1. Alright, so then if I go, yeah, right here, this is trying to show where the new headquarters or second headquarters building would potentially be located. So let me try to pull that up on Google Maps real quick. Make sure that I'm accurately talking about this. I think it would be right around here, but let me, sorry, I went too far down. Okay, so Google Maps is a little outdated here. So it doesn't show how the headquarters building is being built already right here. Or is this maybe that's the lobby one. Well, I think I have a better picture in the slide here. Yeah, so this is sort of the top-down view. This is where the main headquarters that's being built right now, with 36 stories tall, is located. This is Superior Avenue along the bottom. Let me make that full screen. You've got the Sky Bridge crossing West 3rd, that 2-story pavilion, the parking garage that they're building over here. So I believe right next to the 36-story office tower, kind of closer to the Rockefeller building, that's where the future headquarters number 2 building could be located. So that would be sort of adjacent to it and fill up that spot where right now there would just be empty space. I don't know what they would use it for if they don't do it, if they would be turned into like green space or just a parking lot, but it sounds like pretty quickly they're going to try to move on expanding there. And then based on these renderings up here, it sounds like they could even expand up here. I don't know if this would be part of Sherwin-Williams or just city stuff in general, but it sounds like they want to do future commercial, retail, and office space, like 3 stories potentially on both sides, and take advantage of that. It does say right here, vacated Frankfurt Avenue, so I think that would only be used for entry to the parking garage. I don't know if they would block it off over here and allow vehicles to come that way, or if it would you would only have to exit on the West 6. I'm not positive. Oh, I see over here. Garage entry would be on Frankfurt, and then the exit would be on West 3rd, but over here. So I think they would block off this intersection, kind of make that a solid area. So yeah, that is all I had planned in my little mock-up for the November update. So if there's no other questions, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sure I'll have a lot of viewers watching this afterward too. But thanks again for tuning in. I am still hoping to get to Cleveland to do some videos during the before Christmas time, because that would be nice to do my annual Christmas videos there. I'll go to Poco Traveler right now for a quick shout out. The recent video I did was showing off Christmas Village cottages and lights in Ogden, Utah a couple days ago. So feel free to check that out. Let me try to go to that real quick. Now one thing I should note, yeah, so this menu almost like the syrup. Yeah, this video showcased, there was, I don't know how many, I didn't count, but there was like a lot of cottages that had these really cool Christmas scenes in them. You can see the thumbnail that I used for it was this elf police department. And you've got the Grinch playing the role of the cop, and the cops are actually behind bars. Yeah, so that was a treat. I saw that 2 years ago, back in 2021 as well. So that was fun to see. And I know some people, I'm not sure how many people read the actual like community section of the tab. So, you know, some people were asking oh, like, you know, when are you coming back to Cleveland? When are you coming back to Cleveland? I was trying to give like a little explanation of why I've been away for a certain duration. So if you haven't already, feel free to go to the community section. I posted this 7 days ago, so that's kind of explaining why I've been a little bit preoccupied and busy and having the lack of videos throughout the month of November. But hopefully I can pick that up again, because I am still determined, and that is a huge passion of mine, to be able to go around and showcase holiday themed things and Cleveland related things, etc. Let's see here, I think I got one comment that came in. Thomas says, hello, just found your channel a couple days ago and watched your Parma and Ridge Road ride. I enjoyed it. Where did you grow up? I think I saw your comment. I know there's a few comments I still have to respond to based on people getting it. I love it when that's one of my favorite things. So videos that I've posted on Lorraine Avenue, Madison Avenue, Detroit Avenue, and then that Parma one, and then some of the old Brooklyn ones, they seem to have like a really long longevity to them, meaning when I first posted those videos they didn't get like a ton of views, but like every month or so I'll get someone who watches the video and they leave like a lot of nice comments talking about their memories growing up and their history of it. So, you know, I always love seeing that. So you asked, where did I grow up? I grew up on the west side of Cleveland, in kind of near Lorraine Avenue and West 100th. It kind of gives like a general idea of where I grew up. And when I was a kid, my parents would drive me, or my mom in particular would drive me and my brother all the time out to some of the nearby suburbs, mostly the west side ones, either Brooklyn, Parma, North Olmsted. But Parma I had fond memories of. If you listen to my narration during that Parma and Ridge Road ride, you know, I talked about things like the old Parmatown Mall or the movie theater, and even like the old, where the certain library used to be located. Now a lot of that stuff had changed like a decade or more ago, but I just hadn't been out there in so long, because there got to be a point when I was in high school no, was it high? I think it was when I was just starting college, where I didn't have a car, and then my parents, their car died, so they stopped kind of driving. So really, I was just taking the bus everywhere, and most of the places I would take the bus would be back and forth to downtown Cleveland. So there had been that long gap where I still had all those memories and familiarity with things like Parma, Southland, Brooklyn, etc. But I wasn't, being there day to day. So when I did that bike ride out there, that was like literally the first time I had been there in probably a decade. So it was cool to relive that stuff. And the bike ride made it where it was a nice slow pace, because if I was driving a car, which I can do now, I can drive a car. So I have ideas through my head of doing car rides and being able to narrate, but the bike riding video allowed me to do a pace where I was still going not too fast, and you get more visibility. I could stop and like show certain things. So yeah, that was really fun to relive that. Yeah, and as always, if you guys have suggestions anytime, feel free to pick any of my videos and leave a comment. Say, oh, it would be cool to see this neighborhood. And I'll, if I've covered it in a video before, because I know sometimes it's hard to go through all my past videos and maybe you may not realize I've covered it. For example, some people in the past have said, oh, it'd be nice to see Little Italy, and then I try to reply like, oh, I've done these 2 videos on Little Italy, maybe check them out and see if it pertains to you. But other times there's been suggestions where people have said, oh, can you cover this area, and it helps give me ideas to cover. So you could either leave a comment asking me about that, like, oh, maybe check out this area in the future, and then I'll put it in my mind. Or you can go to, if you go to the Poco Traveler channel, where did they put it now? There should be like an about us section. Oh, YouTube must have changed it a little bit. I thought there used to be an about tab, but if you click on the description, it has, does it have my email? It used to have, oh, there it is, view email address. I was looking for it, it's right in front of me. So if you click that, it says pocotraveler@gmail.com. So that's another way you can reach me. Or if you follow on Twitter or Instagram, you can try to send me like a direct message and ask for certain places to cover. Let's see what else we have here. Thomas also added saying it gives us viewers the chance to see things too. Yes, I definitely. So that's why I love the comment feedback, because as much as I love exploring, I love seeing the feedback react to you guys, because a lot of times you guys teach me history about certain things. My mom, before I do certain videos, will tell me history about certain things too. Like I know when I did, where's the video where I went to past Lyndale through Brooklyn? Oh, this one right here. When I did the exploring the border of Cleveland, Lyndale, and Brooklyn by Memphis Kitty Park, before I did that video, I consulted with my mom and was talking to her for like 10-20 minutes about like, hey, tell me some of the things you remember about this. And I actually had made a little note sheet and was jotting things down and referencing it as I was going back. And then she's told me many stories over the years, like, so I have those stories kind of in the back of my mind. So it was more so me telling her like, hey, remind me quickly about this, so I make sure I'm telling it accurately. But also in other areas of Cleveland, that's what I was trying to say. A lot of times in the comment section, viewers will point things out that I would have had no way of knowing, because I'm only in my mid 30s. But people have a lot more experience. And even something like Parma, even though my parents took me there when I was younger, I didn't live in that area. So there's a lot of things that people that may have lived in that area would know much more in depth. Thomas adds that he grew up in Brooklyn, also lived in Little Italy and Lakewood, now back in Brooklyn, worked in Parma Town, Burger King in the food court, and then later J.C. Penney. Yep, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. You were like ingrained in that, so you would have a lot of memories and specific things to talk about. Laura R. says, I ended up traveling with circuses and carnivals. What an exciting life. Oh man, that definitely sounds exciting and unique. I've seen that like shown on certain television shows before. They probably, I don't know if they stretch the truth of it, but they make it sound very, very interesting, and how they quickly like gather up all that stuff and go from town to town. That'd be interesting. Like, I wonder if that's stayed within a certain area, like throughout Ohio, or if it went state to state and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm sure that was quite the experience and unique time to be traveling like that. Alright, well, looks like we had, or have had 14 to 15 live viewers that tuned in for this. And Moonstone ECT says, "Hi, glad I caught a live stream." Yes, I'm glad you caught it too. I'm not sure if you just tuned in or if you were here earlier, but thank you for checking it out. And again, if anyone is just tuning in, for example, after this is done, you can of course go back and check the beginning of it. So thank you again for tuning in, everyone. And once again, if you liked this video, feel free to hit the, oh, you said just a second you tuned in, darn it. Well, at least you captured the end of it. Allocated Brain said missed the first 15 minutes. Yeah, first 15 minutes, that's when I talked about the Midway Superior bike thing. So yeah, feel free to go back and check those portions out. Thomas says, "I look forward to watching your other videos." Thanks, Thomas. But yeah, again, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you liked this video, feel free to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And well, yeah, one other thing I forgot to point out. So I mentioned feel free to leave comments or email me if you have suggestions. If there's I'm sure there's a lot of construction projects that I haven't talked about, and I think it's cool to cover things in the specific communities too. Like that's why I mentioned the 117th and Madison water main break, because that's something that may not be of interest to a lot of Cleveland residents if they don't go through there. But especially this past year, for example, I probably went through that intersection like three times a week. So that was very relevant to me. If there's certain unique projects embedded in your communities and you think it would be interesting for me to cover or talk about, feel free to email me too and say, hey, check out this news story of what they're building here. Because I find even the littlest things fascinating. Back in, like when Value World was closing at a certain location and moved from Southland to North Olmsted, that's a silly little thing that some people would be like, oh, who cares about that? To me, it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I was looking up what's being torn down, what's replacing it, where is it moving to. So yeah, any little things like that, feel free to always suggest it. But yeah, thanks again everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.